Hey guys, it's me again, Xbox Live's Backroom, back with you after a bit of a brief hiatus. I picked up a couple of games over the past several weeks, possibly months. Trying to get some new stuff, trying to get into some different things I haven't played for a while. And one of the things that I got back into, at least I tried to get back into, was Dead or Alive 5. I've not really played Dead or Alive since, probably Dead or Alive 2 on the Dreamcast. Played it pretty heavily there. Played a little bit of Dead or Alive 3 on the Xbox. But DOA 2, at the time, was one of my favorite fighting games on a system which was known for having great fighting games. Your Power Stone games, of course you had Marvel vs. Capcom 2, which was great at the time. You had Capcom vs. SNK 2. There's all sorts of stuff on the Dreamcast. And Dead or Alive 2 was great. The tag battles, the graphics were smooth. It was fun to play. People have always looked at Dead or Alive as the tits and ass franchise of fighting games. And that's never been what it's been for me. When I first played Dead or Alive back on the original PlayStation, I wasn't that interested in the fact that it had extra jiggle. I didn't care. What I thought was interesting, if not terribly well executed at the time, was the countering system, the ability to intercept people's moves and that sort of stuff, which really got expanded upon and improved upon in DOA 2. The game series has always seemed to me like it had the most potential for cinematic fights, something to be really kind of like a Hollywood film. It's something well choreographed. When you get to the fights, when somebody throws a punch and you grab and you roll through and they roll out, and it looks beautiful when done well. But playing DOA 5 here, not quite as successful as the earlier installments, or at least, I haven't played 4, don't know if it's good or not. 3 was so-so, 2 was awesome, and 1 was groundbreaking in its own right. 5, I don't know if it's just I'm not as fond of 3D fighters as I used to be. I still prefer a more 2D plane. And so even though DOA 5 just came out and I'm still trying to get into it, I think I'm probably going to end up sticking with good old Super Street Fighter 4. It's still the big one. It's still the best on the block. It's the one that's got the most active community. It's the one that just seems like the most fun. It still seems like it's the most fun of all the fighting games out there, MVC3, just goofy as shit. It's not fun. It's not, whatever. Mortal Kombat, if you're in the Mortal Kombat style, that maybe do something for you, but I'm sticking with Street Fighter. Unfortunately, once again, and my ebbs and flows, the roller coaster ride of my Street Fighter career, it's in a downturn right now. And while I hate to be the guy to make excuses, I'll tell you flat out, not that good. Right? I'm just not that good. But right now, a lot of my losses stem from having to relearn how to play Street Fighter. I have traditionally been a controller player, going back to the Street Fighter on the SNES. It just seemed it fit. You got 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Jab, strong, fierce. It worked. Especially now with the bumpers and triggers to get your all 3 punches and kicks. But in watching other videos, watching especially the things on Cross Counter, Mike Ross, Gutex, all those guys, love watching their shit, and I felt, you know what? This must be the only difference between our levels. It must be the equipment. It can't be, like practice and talent or anything like that. It's got to be the equipment. So I went ahead and spent a little money. I wasn't able to go to the Wizard World Mid-Ohio Con, I guess Wizard World Ohio, what they're calling it now, because I had to work that weekend. So I took some of the money that I saved by not going to the convention, and I bought myself a bit of a new controller. I decided if I'm gonna go for a controller, I'm gonna go all out, and I picked up the 8-Arc Fusion Ivory. This thing is ridiculous. This is it's too much car. 9.5 pounds, 16 inches by about 10 inches by 3. Sanwa parts. This is basically a Super Street Fighter 4 arcade controller. I don't mean like it's an arcade stick. I mean like this is like the arcade controller. I was a little worried because I have my television is a ways away here in the basement. It's a bit big, and I didn't think that the USB cord is going to be quite long enough. But by God, it actually reaches all the way across my room, so I don't need to worry about wireless lag or anything. It's a dual modded controller, so it's Xbox, PS3, and PlayStation, or pardon me, Xbox, PS3, and PC. It's just beautiful. Even the fucking packaging on this is beautiful. If you're looking for a controller, I'm going to say that the 8-arc Fusion, I don't know if I like the Ivory better than the Ebony, but they're both just great. The synthesis is great. All the shit on there is good, so check them out. I don't think it's going to make me any better. As I say, right now, it's actually making me significantly worse. Instinctual actions, things that I would have just done as a matter of course, just bloop, 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 button presses, are now having to be unlearned and retaught. I might actually have to wait for like the next 2D fighter. I might get like Persona or something and try Persona Arena. Because right now, Street Fighter is getting way too hard to... I don't even know, is Sakura's overhead kick, is it forward and medium? Is it down and hard? Down and roundhouse? And I'm just like, on the D-pad, on the controller, it just bloop, 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 and I can do shit. This thing is taking a while to relearn. So forgive me if you kick my ass and I say, hey, you don't get too high on yourself. Maybe you really beat me. There's a good chance he did. But also, maybe it's an adjustment period. I fucking hope I figure it out. Otherwise, that's a significant investment in failure. But overall, DOA 5, good things. The pros and cons of DOA 5, good things. It does bring over some characters from Virtua Fighter, just like 3 of them. Virtua Fighter was like the first real big 3D fighter that I ever got into. It was in the local arcade. Virtua Fighter 2 was, we had a kind of a game rental place where they had a place called the Ultimate Room in the back, and you could, rent a Saturn or a Dreamcast or a Neo Geo, which is what we typically went for. And so we played a shit ton of Virtua Fighter 2 on the Saturn in there. I even have my Virtua Fighter marquee up on the wall, the original mirror marquee from the arcade. So it was great to see those characters, Akira again, Genfu. The best thing about Dead or Alive in general, Karate Rodman. The fact that Zack is nothing but Karate Rodman. Was it fucking Double Impact with Van Damme? That's basically him. And that's fantastic. I will take whatever kickboxing Karate Rodman does over Shaq Fu any day of the week. The graphics are very pretty. It's fluid and smooth. The arcade, the stages are fantastic, especially the multi-levels. You knock people out of windows and stuff. Those really add a lot of fun to it. The downsides of the game, it's a 3D fighter. If that's your thing, maybe that's not a downside. It's just it's awkward. It is very juggly. Similar to Tekken, if you can start a combo, sometimes it seems tricky for someone to try and get out. The matches are way too quick. I prefer a bit of a more long, drawn-out thing. I don't want to go through a timeout win, but I don't want a match to be over in 10 seconds. Just because somebody was able to chain in a lot of damage, juggle you into a fucking clown bus or something. It's just kind of... The improved, so to speak, independent boob physics, not really an improvement. Some of the boobs are just weird. I understand that this is, for some people, a selling point, even going back to the whole "she kicks high" commercial. Itagaki was a weird dude. I thought maybe when he and Team Ninja parted ways that they would kind of tone shit down and get back to more just the gameplay. Sure, keep the sex appeal. There's no problem with, making your female characters attractive, making your male characters attractive. People want a good-looking game. But when you've got your fucking water balloon boobs going on, they're like the worst implants ever. And just, so maybe you can pull that back a little bit. All in all, if you're going to get a fighting game, maybe it's too late to get into Street Fighter because the community is pretty strong now. If you got online, you would probably have your ass handed to you pretty firmly. I've been playing since launch, and I usually do. So yeah, maybe check out Persona. Maybe get that a pick up here sometime soon and try that one out. If you're looking for something fun, I would still recommend DOA 5 over over Street Fighter Cross Tekken. Because that game does end on a lot of fucking timeouts, which is just ridiculous. Street Fighter Cross Tekken is just broken. So, overall, maybe a 7 out of 5. It plays smoothly. It's just not easy. You can maybe mash and win, but I'm not going to say that makes the game easy just because you can mash. It just means that the game has a lot of freedom to it. So, 7 out of 10. As far as the 8-arc Fusion Ivory, god damn, that thing's beautiful. That's a fucking 10. That's a fucking 10. That is a dime piece right there. Be prepared to pay a premium for it. Even if you get on their Facebook page and find some coupon codes, it's like $10 off. If you get the controller, an extra clear faceplate if you want to pop in some of your own graphics or whatever, which I don't even know why that's necessary. And then you get shipping, you're still crossing over 2 bills. So make sure you want that, or maybe talk to somebody you love around Christmas time and maybe they'll hook you up. So coming up, what do we got? We got WWE 13 coming out at the end of the month. This will be my first wrestling game since the Nintendo 64. I think I had Raw is War and Warzone. My brother had them and I borrowed them a lot. I liked those, the Acclaim produced games because the fights were a lot slower. My brother and I could have half-hour, 45-minute single matches. I can see where a lot of people wouldn't be into that, but for us it was great. You know, by the end, when you're actually just slamming on the buttons, trying to get out of a pin, you actually felt as fatigued as your fighter. Once UK took over and they switched over, probably was it SmackDown, WWE 2000 something, the matches were over like a more traditional fighting game, like 3 minutes. Weren't my style. I know UK is still in charge of this. Got a wild hair up my ass, decided to get a wrestling game. So we're going to try that out here in a couple weeks. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, jibba jabba, smack talk, what have you, you know that goes down in the comments below. Check out some... excuse me. Check out some of the other videos if you want to look at some other fighting game comments. Check out the history here. Otherwise, I will catch you guys on Xbox Live. Take it easy.